Go try this again. Hi, I'm Candy Corpse. You can call me Kay. And I was going to film a vlog that was kind of going to be over the course of a couple days, and then just recap some of the stuff that I didn't get video of, but I got some pictures of, because the last few days have been kind of hectic. And then not really too much happened yesterday. I did shop a little bit, but I didn't record a lot of it because I was in a busy store and I wasn't by myself. I mostly had to focus on just my list and getting everything I needed, if they had it. But I ended up getting scammed. And I had to go to the police station and basically file a report because it turns out there's like this whole thing happening in my area. And I don't know all the details regarding that itself. I might know more later, I don't know. But as of right now, as of recording this, I basically got locked out of my house and I'm not allowed to have a spare key. So my sister doesn't have a key. When she grabbed my car keys, I had forgotten that they fell off of my keychain with my house key. So the door was locked. We got home from our groceries and whatnot. And I was like, hey, do you have the house key? Because she had my car keys. She was like, no. So I was like, okay, well, we're locked out. The only way in is through the window, but the window's locked. It's not, if it was cracked, we could push it open and just take the screen out. But it wasn't because we weren't home. And usually at least one of us is home. So I tried calling around for Locksmith. It was only 9 p.m. and a lot of them said that they were open, but I couldn't get a hold of one. So eventually I was able to get a hold of a number that I found on Google, and it was listed with all of my local shops. And when someone picked up, it was someone from a different area, and I thought, okay, this is really weird. But the person just said, oh, you're looking for a locksmith? And I was like, yes, that's why I called a locksmith, because I need a locksmith, because I already tried getting a hold of my landlord. They weren't answering. Still haven't gotten back to me, by the way, and it's been 12 hours, so. But anyway, I spoke to them. They told me that someone else would be contacting me, like the driver themselves. And I was like, okay, weird, but whatever. And I tried calling one more person because I thought it was really suspicious, but I could not get a hold of anyone. I tried literally everyone in my area. So, and I noticed that the number was from a different area code, New York, which I thought was strange because Google, when I looked up the company, and I can't remember the name, which you'll find out why later, but when I looked it up, it said that it was local, like in my city. So I was like, okay, this is very strange. It takes all of 5 minutes to drive through my entire city. You know what I mean? Like city, but it's like the bare minimum population requirement. It's a small town, surrounded by a couple other small towns. Like it's not huge, it's not super far. No more than 20 minutes to get from like one town to 2 more over, you know what I mean? Like all pretty close together, just kind of like one bigger one that was broken up into smaller ones, basically, when population got bigger, just to kind of give you an idea of how close things are. So the person calls me back about 10 minutes later, and they're like, oh, this is your address, I'm on my way. Click. I was like, weird. They didn't talk to me about anything, but whatever. I expected there to be a fee because, you know, it is a little bit later, but they told me it would take 45 minutes. This obviously was not an emergency call, but it was a little later, but I didn't call someone and was like, hey, can you come? Like, you know, I was like, oh, like, are you open? They're like, yeah. It's like, okay, well, I'm locked out of my house. Don't know where my house keys are. Would someone be able to unlock the door for me? They're like, oh yeah, we can get a technician out there. They'll call you. And that's when I was like, this is weird. And then, so I'm waiting for the tech, and I wait the 45 minutes. I give them another 5 or 10 minutes. And so I call the tech from the same phone number, and I honestly didn't think it would work because the phone number was from a different area code. Like, I realized it was from out of state. I live in New York, and I realized that the phone number was from Massachusetts. So I'm like, this is really weird. Did like the call center fuck up? Is this like a larger company and they just have a building here in my area of New York, upstate New York? And the person answers. I said, hey, I was told that someone would be here in 45 minutes. It's been over an hour. Like, is someone on their way? Because, you know, I gave them like roughly 15 minutes. And they were like, oh, guy goes, oh yeah, I'll be there in about 5 minutes. So another 15, 20 minutes later, like this guy was like more than 30 minutes late. I'm standing out there in the cold, you know, I have groceries, like I'm trying, you know, they never asked any questions, never asked any details, never spoke to me about pricing. Again, I knew that there would most likely be some kind of a fee, but the average is between 50 and 150 depending on if there's extra service fees, how far they have to travel, etc. So mind you, they told me they were local to the area. So that means there shouldn't be extra service fees for like having to travel out of town because they were supposed to be in town. So this guy finally pulls up and I'm like, it's the apartment further down. Nobody asked me the apartment number. They just had the address and just said they were on their way. And he was like, oh, okay. And there's no license plate. Actually really fucking scary when the guy pulled up. There was no license plate. There was no logo on the car, no logo on the tool bag. There was no logo on the guy's shirt. The shirt literally was just a black sweater and it said Locksmith, just the word Locksmith. So I'm like, weird for it to be like a company that had a call center that they had to reach out to a tech for in my area. This is really weird for them to not have a logo, but maybe it's like a freelance guy working for them. I don't know. This guy seemed very confused, like he didn't know what was going on. He wrote some stuff down on paper, asked me to sign, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. So he unlocked my door and I'm like, how much is this gonna cost? And then so he pulls out his phone and adds on his calculator, and I already was like, this is hella suspicious. $420. I said, excuse me? $420 for you to be 30 minutes late at the end of, in the middle of autumn. Not even the middle, like, like, it's towards the end of autumn. It's cold as fuck outside. You left me standing outside freezing for over an hour and a half. You were late. You never told me about prices. And he goes, this is when his story kind of starts to fall apart. And I was already really suspicious. And I did like pay the guy for opening my door, but I didn't pay the full like $420 because first of all, that itself is a fucking joke. And second, I didn't have $420. And I said, the person I originally spoke to on the phone never said anything about upcharging me, like charging me double. Like they never said anything about that. And so he says, you didn't ask me about price. And I said, I didn't have to ask you about price because you're just the tech, you're just the driver. I was told they were gonna be sending somebody to me to unlock the door. So I'm asking you, like, how do you expect me to pay you? Am I being billed, etc.? And that's when he, you know, told me that it would be $420. And he said, yeah, you didn't ask me. And I said, I spoke to supposedly 2 different people, at least 2 different people. So are you telling me that was you both times? And I thought it was him both times because it sounded like it was him both times, but from 2 different numbers. And then he goes, oh, you can just pay me the rest tomorrow. And then text me from a new number, same phone, I presume, because he only pulled one out of his pocket. And if he was driving around, why would he have multiple? But anyway, he pulled his phone out and texts me and says that I still owe him $257. I paid this man $80 in cash and $80 from my card. And I was like, this is really suspicious. This is really weird. When he told me I still owe $257, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why is he trying to charge me $420 in total? And he couldn't tell me why. He couldn't tell me what he was charging me for. Never gave me a copy of any of my receipts. The whole thing was weird. He got in his car and my sister said she wanted to get a picture of the license plate, but she couldn't see it. She couldn't find it. And the guy sat in his car. He literally ran into his car. I was like, if I have to pay this, if this is normal, then I can see if I can come up with the money. But I was never informed that there would be an over $200 upcharge, and something like that is going to have to wait until I get paid, because this is not something that I was informed about. If I had been properly informed, this could have been avoided. So either payment plan needs to happen or you're fucking lying to me right now. And the guy goes, oh, and that's when he like jumped in his car, and he just sat there and stared at us and waited until we went inside, which was very weird, very suspicious, and very uncomfortable after finding out what I found out. But he texted me from, like I said, a third phone number. This time the phone number was registered to New Hampshire, saying that I still owed $257, and he told me that he was going to call me at 10 a.m. First he said he was going to call me at 10 a.m. for more money after I had initially paid him, and that's when I said, what do you mean? And he then, right before jumping in his car, said that he was going to text me a link to a Cash App to pay the rest. I said, I don't have Cash App, because I had asked, when can I reach out to you the next day? I have something, you know, in the morning around noon. I have things that I need to do, appointments I need to get to. Would it be better if I reach out to you after that, just so I can give you a time frame and I can let you know what's going on, and I can reach out to the company and I can work out a payment plan? And he said, I'll text you a link. You can use that Cash App to pay me. And I said, no, like, why would I do that? Because he didn't use Cash App on his phone, because he used like his personal cell phone. He didn't use Cash App on his phone when he took my card and tried charging it. He tried charging the $420 after I'd already given him the $80 in cash that I had, and he tried charging me the $420, and it didn't go through because I didn't fucking have that. And I told him, I don't have that in my account. Like, I was like, that's not gonna work. And then he was able to get $80 to go through. And when I looked, my account said that it needed to verify who I was because somebody else had tried getting into my account. This was a little while later. So the guy finally drives away. I bring my groceries up the stairs. My sister and I are like, this is crazy. We're trying to look up the company. I can't remember the company name, but I'm looking up the phone numbers. I eliminate every single company that shows up on Google except for this one phone number that I have that is no longer on Google. And that is the one that I knew for a fact. I had spoken with the original person, and it was not on Google. There was nothing. This company that was on Google is gone. It is not there. So I don't know exactly what happened, but it was really weird. So the whole thing was really sketchy. I walked to my job because I needed to tell my coworker some things anyway, and I was like, hey, this really weird, really sketchy thing that just happened, and I think I was scammed, and it's really scary. And so I kind of briefly explained it, and one of our regulars was in there, and she was like, wait, that sounds really weird, what happened? So I re-explained it again because she only heard part of it. So she told me I should check my bank app because I don't have proof that I paid half of it in cash because the guy never gave me a receipt. But I had the proof that I paid some on my card. So I went in, and instead of a company name, it was a bunch of random letters and numbers. And that's when it told me that I needed to verify who I was, and they had to do like a verification system to make sure it was actually me because somebody tried logging into my banking app. So I'm like, okay, immediately already a red flag. I'm already super suspicious, already getting calls from different numbers. Like, this is crazy. Mind you, this person can get into my house and they have my address. So I'm like nervous, I'm shook. And so yeah, especially as soon as I saw like what it looked like, it didn't say Cash App, Venmo, nothing like that. It was it didn't have a company name. It didn't have the person's personal name, which they did not tell me. They didn't tell me anything. They would not give me any information. And I'm like, this is really weird. But when I first spoke to someone on the phone, all they said was a tech was coming out. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, this is all really sketchy, but I need to get in my house. So I guess whatever. I didn't think anyone was showing up because, like I said, they were like over half an hour late. Like, this shit was crazy. So I'm like, okay, nobody's showing up. I don't have to like look further into this. It's whatever. Like, you know, they got busy. Something happened. But it obviously wasn't an emergency, because if it was an emergency, they would have been on time, or they would have been like, hey, I'm lost, or there's traffic, I'm on my way, etc. So that never happened. So basically I saw that, and I worked at a bank, so I know from a banking end what scam fake stuff looks like. and I know what it looks like when it pretends to be something that is real. So from a banking perspective, I could tell I'm like, this is not correct. And I tried Googling it and nothing came up. So I tried Googling the phone number, nothing came up. Tried to reverse search the phone number, and it was a personal cell phone, so I couldn't like, you know, I would have to like pay to get that information, whatever, and I wasn't about to subscribe to anything. So I'm like, okay, this is really weird. So I'm telling a few people about it. I was told to call someone that I know. I just need to like move because my leg is going numb. I do have the personal phone number of someone who is a local police officer, and they were working at the time, but I was told that, you know, I should give them a call and see what their opinion is, because I wasn't sure if this was something that I should or could go to the police about, or if it was more of like a civil matter, and I just had to try to dispute it with them and just basically wait to see if they try to sue me. And if they do, explain to the court, yeah, I am making payments, but they wanted payment in full, but they never told me, you know, whatever, and explain the whole sketchy situation because it was really weird. And so this person that I knew did not pick up the phone. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Obviously they're busy. They're doing something. They obviously got a call, which is fair. Like, I totally understand, you know, they got a call, and that's more important than my question. So I called the non-emergency line. I was like, hey, I know this is like really weird, and I'm sorry if I'm wasting your time, but to make a long story short, and I kind of explained a little bit of what happened, and he goes, hold on, start from the beginning. You tried to call a locksmith? I said, yeah. And he goes, you need to speak to an officer. Can you get down here right now? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, and this was at your address, like your personal home? And I'm like, yeah. Like, the guy has my address, got my house and everything. Like, kind of shocked. And he was like, yeah, you need to come down here right now. You need to walk here right now, or like you need to drive if you have a car, but you need to get down here right now. Like, you need to talk to someone. And I was like, okay. He was like, yeah, just like come in, pick up the phone when you're like outside the door, so that way we can let you in and an officer can talk to you. So it's like, okay. So I get there and I kind of explain the whole thing, and they're like, okay. And because he said he was going to reach out to me one way or another at 10 a.m. And it's definitely getting close to that time right now. So the officer who I had spoken with before, I had seen him here and there just in public, whether it was through my job or just like in public settings, whatever. This guy was always nice to me. And this is actually the person who, when I think it was my headlight over a year ago, had gone out while I was door dashing, and the cop happened to be like opposite of me at the light when it happened. So I didn't notice, so he pulled me over and he was like, your light just went out, like just right now. So he tried to help me fix it. Ended up getting it fixed, but I had to do it the next day anyway. So this guy was like super nice. I don't know if you remembered me, but I had like spoken to this guy before. He was really nice. And so basically I said, just tell me. I was like, I just had to get a permanent order of protection against someone. I'm already being harassed online, like I'm having my stuff hacked online that I thought was over with, and actually recently happened again. I'm just really nervous with all this stuff going on. Everyone's telling me I need to be scared. Everyone's telling me this is a scam, and I already was nervous. And now having to be here and having to talk to you, this is making me nervous. Like, is this something, like, I know I'm going to have to go to my bank to get a new bank card. Like, I know that. But is this, like, what, in your professional opinion, like, does this sound like something where it's just weird circumstances and the person is just trying to, you know, just crazy overcharging me, and that's something I have to discuss with them? Like, is this a civil matter? And he said no. He said that this is a scam. And it sounds like it's someone either pretending to be a locksmith as a side gig, and they're trying to overcharge so it's not really working out for them, or it's someone who's just like actively, it's some sort of whatever is going on, and they're actively scamming people and getting like bank information from people and card information from people. So I should be getting a phone call soon, and if I do, I have a list of things, because like I said, I'm gonna write down all of the phone numbers, because I have, like I said, 3 different ones from the night before when I had spoken to everybody and this whole situation happened. So I'm gonna write those phone numbers down. But like I said, when I tried to Google search them, because I'm like, I don't remember the company name, I want to make sure I know what's going on, and I want to reach out to the company itself and be like, hey, this is how much your tech is charging me, but I, whatever, explain the situation, see what I can do. And that's when I had told them, like, when I tried to do that, everything was erased, like nothing was on Google, but like that's where I got the phone number, was straight from Google. Like it said it was a local company, like in my town. So I have a list that if the person reaches out to me, hopefully it's text, because if it's through call, at least with the text, I'll have the text proof, but I can also I want to write down the company name, their phone number, the text name, the company's address, and then any other information I can get. And then that way, if this person does reach out to me, then I can bring that information. Basically, they want me to keep in contact with this person, to see what they say and do, so I can give them the information, because it sounds like it may be something bigger, and whatever evidence I can gather, if it does end up being something bigger and not someone just attempting to scam me personally, but a bigger thing like they think it might be, then they might need to use like whatever I collect as evidence, which obviously at the time I didn't think I would need to do. So I don't really have much right now except for those 3 phone numbers. But the whole thing was really weird and really sketchy. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I should be potentially hearing from this person very soon. And I am nervous just because I've had so many things happen lately. This was kind of just like the final straw after multiple final straws. And there was like some other stuff that happened throughout the day that made me nervous. So a friend did talk to me and kind of help me not really relax, but just kind of let me like sit there quietly and like get my thoughts together. While I was like, I literally showed up and I was like not crying a lot, but I did have like a tear, and I was like, hey, I'm actually not okay. Like I was having a panic attack, and I was trying so hard to keep myself together, but I was obviously not okay. And I was in a public place, so I just was like trying so hard to keep it together, and someone tried talking to me and they were like, oh, do you play pool? And I was like, no. And I started crying, and it wasn't like, and they were like, okay, like it wasn't this person's fault. But yeah, I'm just rambling at this point. I wanted to make this video shorter, but yeah, so this person may or may not reach out to me. If they do reach out to me, I'm gonna get whatever information I can and then bring that back to the police station. Hopefully they don't fucking show up at my apartment, because I'm actually really scared about that. But I also have to go to the bank. Yeah, today, it's weird because today is my last day off, but I get the beginning of the week off, so like in my head I'm like, oh, it's Sunday, the bank's closed. No, it's not. It's literally Wednesday. But so now I have to go to the bank, and I have to definitely get a new card, potentially get a new bank account, and dispute the charge, because it was already $80, especially if more than like the 20, if like the other 20, there was like a little bit left, roughly 20 give or take, because I had gotten paid, I had bills that came out, and then I got groceries, and then the extra cash that I had, that was money that was supposed to last me a while, plus what was on my card was supposed to stay on my card. So for this crazy thing to happen, like this was the whole point of me having that extra cash for emergencies, and then all this crazy shit happened. So yeah. So that's it for now. I may post an update, but who knows, maybe I won't have one. Maybe I'll be lucky and the guy will realize it's a lost cause, because that's what the cop said to me. He said maybe he'll realize that he tried to scam you and it was a lost cause because you had no money. And I was like, yeah, you're so right. The way he said, he didn't like say it in a disrespectful way, but it was just like kind of funny the way he said it. He was like, maybe you just realized you were a lost cause. And I was like, yeah, I am. But yeah, so like I said, the guy, if he does reach back out to me, it should be soon. So I'm gonna see if this person reaches out to me. I'm not gonna reach out to them, because this is crazy. So I'm gonna see if they reach out to me and see if I can get any information. And then, like I said, if there's an update, I guess I'll make an update.